So, hello everybody, good afternoon. We are really excited, Magnus and myself, to be here on this stage and share the development in our SNOP journey together with Anaplan. But before we jump into the actual subject, I would like to explain who we are and why we're here, what brought us onto this stage. So we're Danfoss, a leading technological partner in the industry. We're our headquarters are in Denmark. We're around 40,000 people, and we have around 100 production facilities all over the world on all the continents. We have three segments, and I would like to give a bit more information about Danfoss Climate Solution, where I belong, what I represent, and the important thing that I would like to bring your attention is that we are 35 factories and even twice as more distributional centers. And we have managed to create a distributional network where the factories delivering to DCs. DCs are also selling between themselves intercontinentally, and the factories also supplying each other with semi-finished raw materials based on the needs. And we are very complex and big, also having a lot of people who are managing distributions and the factories. And when we are looking at that complexity, right, the picture that represents the users, the connections between the different parties, it's very, very clear that we were at some point of need in a big demand for a common planning approach for SNOP process that would enable the changes in any part of this network to be visible and to impact on time within the proper structure other locations. So, because the worst thing that could happen is that as a planner, I prepare my plans, I approve them, I do the checks, and tomorrow everything changes because someone makes something. So we have come at some point to understanding that we need a common planning approach with the robust tool that can help us do that. And this is how Danfoss SNOP transformation started, from many parts into a common approach. In 2016, the journey began. By 2018, we were doing pilots together with Anaplan, the real life introduction in certain location. Then there was the maturity, more and more product lines, more and more factories and DCs joined on board. We had the maturity journey yearly assessment. Last year, we have introduced Anaplan 2.0 with better interface, better dashboard, more user-friendly. And now we are 600 people actively using Anaplan for SNOP planning. And of course, more people either giving information, giving some data, or getting the impact on the day-to-day planning. Yeah? So this is, here we are. And to give you the landscape, we are using Anaplan for SNOP. So it's not finance, right, like previous speakers, but this is what we call SIRF, sales, inventory, and operations planning. And we do it with I because inventory, they matter, especially end of the year. What do we do? Let me explain before we go into the actual topic. We take on a weekly basis material master and transactional data from our ERP system, S/4HANA. Then we do demand planning, inventory planning, and ops inside of Anaplan. We have lots of models, lots of logics, lots of formulas and dependencies inside of Anaplan. And then at the end of the inventory cycle, we deploy safety stock to ERP, back to SAP, and as the conclusion of our ops, with the checks of capacity, with the balancing where needed, we are also deploying the forecast back to SAP. And while doing that, right, we can do it on different levels. We can deploy on raw material, finished goods, components in DC, in the factory. That's purely our decision. But the important thing is that everything is joined together, and every time we make the decision to increase or decrease demand plan, to increase safety stock somewhere in the future, to maybe balance the plan, all the participants of this process are aware of that via ANA plan, and then with the actual deployment to ERP for purchasing and day-to-day planning. So that's the very overall picture, but of course it consists of lots of elements, lots of important elements that need to work in sync, to be integrated, to be connected. And one of those elements that we're going to talk today is the footprint change. Ives, help me out.
Sure.
We've been doing the planning in Anaplan, SNOP for many years. We do have 2 years planning horizon. We know our material masters. So we do have the monthly cycles and the people who know what to do in which point of the month. But what about the changes which happen unexpectedly? What about in the modern world, we might be having some issue with the Suez Canal. We might be having the tariffs where we need to quickly change our distribution and rebuild our supply chain design. And of course, building a new factory, moving into new modern environment. Is there anything that we can do to support those changes and secure the best delivery to the customer with the lowest inventory possible?
I might have something that can help you out, Alina. Let me just load something up for you, okay? So here's a picture of your factory. All the yellow columns are representing the demand in weekly buckets. What would you like to do?
Well, let's say I have the new factory there with more modern technology. What about we will move the demand in week 32?
Okay, let's
Then we do that.
try that. So, okay, I'll try to look for week 32. Okay, that's about here in the middle. And how much of the demand would you like to move? Like all of it?
Let's do it all.
All of it. Okay, then let's just do 100%. And I think, yeah, yeah, there you go. That's it.
All right.
So, anything else?
Now potentially all the forecasts from week 32 will be allocated to the new factory. But it's very new, and normally I cannot start production the first day, right? I need to start it gradually, making sure that my operators are trained, the equipment is checked. So can we do it step by step?
Okay, so you want to kind of wrap it up. Yeah, let's try that. So we will kind of have an overlapping. So it's gonna ramp up and ramp down. So I'll stop the production a little bit later in the old factory and start a little bit earlier in the new one. Something like this.
Yeah, like that.
Okay, great.
Now it's not better, but there are cases where I don't want to put all eggs in one basket. And I would still, since those factories are on different continents, I would like to keep half of my production in the old one and move only 50%.
No problem. Let's do 50%. So instead of the 100, let's do 50. Let's just change the 100 and should be something like this.
Yeah. So we're capable of making these changes very fast and immediately deploying the result. Absolutely. What if the change is temporary? What if I'm making renovation in my original factory and I just need to move it for a couple of months?
Okay, so like a temporary allocation or something like that. No problem, let's do that. So I'll like towards the end of the year, around let's say week 48. Okay, week 48, we put all the demand back to the old factory.
And when I deploy to ERP, I will have it only for a few months in the new, and then it will come back. So
all your future requirements will be aligned to these plans in both factories.
Great. Thank you, Magnus. But I have one more question. Very often when I'm moving certain production from one place to another, I'm using the same equipment. So I need to stop, cut off in the old factory, pack it, deliver, installing the new one. So there will be time where I cannot produce, but I still want to sell. Is there a possibility to make the pre-build in the original factory, which I keep selling, while this equipment is being moved and installed.
Okay. Slow down. Okay, Alina.
Slow down.
So let's start. You're gonna stop production a bit earlier. Let's do this first. Okay. So now we're gonna stop the production in an old factory. We're gonna do that in week 26, and then we're gonna start the new one week 32. So that's about 5 weeks here. You will not have the ability to
Yes.
supply.
Yes. We'll,
Okay. And you want to do what?
And I want to do the stock build up, to prepare the inventory,
Okay.
so that I can be selling it.
Okay, so you want to kind of take that demand in those 5 weeks and move it up. Okay, that's a bit kind of. Wait, let me get my phone. Just need to run one process, and I think just
To the cards?
yeah, just hang on. Good. Ah, there you go.
So what do we see?
Well, basically now we took the demand, took the forecast in the old factory, and we're gonna pre-build those products in 5 earlier weeks. So you have the inventory. So when you dismantle the production lines, move the equipment, you'll have a buffer stock to cover your customer deliveries.
All right. So the red one. So we took the gray one, put it on top, produce, and then keep selling there while I'm moving the equipment.
That's it.
That works for me. Thank you.
So this was a bit of a role play, but also a bit of an illustration of the conversation that me and Lina had 6 months ago. And so you got an idea about what the tool looks like in simple words. But I would also like to explain a bit more about how that process worked in real life. So a bit more about how we actually did this. So basically, I'm going to go through these 4 main steps, right? How we went through a design process, built it, tested it, and released this small functionality, this small honeycomb in our big solution. So the first step was really to go out and gather the requirements. And to do that, I interviewed 7 different S&OP managers and supply chain heads to try to get some real use cases. So loading all the use cases down, requirement gatherings, and trying to understand the business process. Once I did that, then I tried to document that in a standard document. So created kind of an old-fashioned standard document explaining the business process, its practices, how to create a timeline around footprint changes, things like this. And once I had that, then I could think about what a tool should look like. So the system designed, and basically there was two options that I could think of. One was basically manipulating the connections in the supply chain network, saying, okay, the demand is going to flow different. The alternative was to kind of just direct the demand the place where I wanted it to go. And as you can see, or as you can read, there were some pros and cons. So one required a lot of input from users. So I had a high complexity for the user to set up the future network, whereas the other one was more high complexity on the back end. So we had to maybe do more upfront calculations, but on the flip side, it would be easier for the end user to interact with. And I opted for option B simply because I wanted a fast adaptation. I wanted users to be able to intuitively, immediately engage with the solution. And so this was the design, the system design that we went with. Then we built the backend. So messy slide here with some kind of model map and architecture drawing just to get an idea about how this kind of, let's say, how this design, how this functionality tied it to the overall design. So this was the backend. And then on the front end side, we basically made one dedicated page for this. So very simple words. The user would create a project. They can input settings for that project, similar to what we were doing in our demo. A little bit more than that. There's a little bit more functionality to it than that. But input settings for the project, and then they would assign products, the products that they want to actually move. And in one page, they get to know all this, and it's immediately live. So once we have built the front end, we did the UAT. So by standard, you have a test script. So standard test script that we went through with qualified users. So I have about 15 qualified users in a test channel. I think even Alina, you're here. think just
Yeah.
it works for me. Thank you. That's what you're saying. So just like having a common place, right, to communicate about all these questions and store videos of demos and things like that. So once the UAT was done, then we can go live. We can release it. So simple, synchronize to our productive system, announce in our internal community to our user community about this new functionality, and update training material. Final step, right? So this is how it was for this small build. How has it been for you? What has been the feedback from the users?
After it was released and delivered, we had a more detailed session with the SciCats and OP managers, and the same day they started using that, and now we already have multiple projects, and we are capable of moving the demand, even if material master is not yet updated, even if we change from 1 week to another on the quantity or the codes, we're already doing that. We're capable of making it, realizing it before it even happened. Yeah.
Okay, this was our small demo, right? So and our small development. So we'll be happy to take any questions from you.
So, just a question: are you the only one in that team doing it? Or do you have someone else?
So I have no. We as you saw, this was one honeycomb of a very big solution. So we have about 4.5 model builders and 2 architects. This have very big models. Maybe a few facts on this. So we're dealing with about 1 million SKUs in our models, and our models are about 500 gigabytes. So this is quite big, and this is one small functionality, but one exciting functionality that actually has a big business and impact, and it's very relevant in these times. So this is why we wanted to show you guys.
It's something that helps to replace multiple Excels, and spreadsheets, and then you can do everything in one place, bulk inventory, focus deployment.
It would be fun if the next question's over.
10,000 steps per day, they say, right?
Thanks, Magnus. Just a quick one. Could you maybe talk a little bit about your decision-making process when you first chose Anaplan? Like, why Anaplan versus other competition?
Wasn't what we were going to talk about today, Colin, but if I go back to that, right, and then when we was out of that journey and why we chose Anaplan, there were different options, right? We were at the point of time where we wanted to replace 16 different SAP systems into one. So we were on a journey with SAP, and therefore IDT was an obvious option, but there were other options that we looked at the time. And what we were looking for was something that we could customize to all the different types of businesses that Danfoss is. Right? So there's a lot, we are doing retail, we're selling B2B, there's all these different business setups. Sometimes we can plan per customer, sometimes per product, sometimes per region. So we were looking for a tool that we could customize, that we could plan all these different ways. And I think at the end of the day, that's why we chose Hanover. That we could build our own apps customized for whatever part of the business, however they wanted to do the plan. No more?
No more. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.